Many thanks again for staying with us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. Let's begin the show with a story on the Court of Appeal judgment on the Kano governorship election, where the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja on Friday yesterday nullified the election of Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of Kano State. The appellate court, in a unanimous decision by a three-member panel of justices, held that Governor Yusuf was not a valid candidate in the gubernatorial election held in the state on March 18. It's maintained that evidence that was adduced by the parties established that Governor Yusuf was not a member of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, at the time the election was held. According to the court, Yusuf, under Section 177C of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, was not qualified to contest the governorship election since he was not validly sponsored by the NNPP. A person must be a member of a political party before he can be sponsored for an election. Sponsorship without membership is like putting something on nothing, the court held in its lead judgment that was delivered by Justice M.U. Adume. Consequently, the appellate court upheld the earlier judgment of the Kano State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal, which nullified Governor Yusuf's election. It will be recalled that the tribunal had, in a virtual judgment it delivered on September 20, sacked Governor Yusuf of the NNPP from office and declared Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna of the All Progressives Congress APC as the valid winner of the governorship poll held in the state on March 18. The three-member panel tribunal, led by Justice Oluyemi Akinton Osedeboy, held that some ballot papers were relied upon to declare Yusuf as the winner of the gubernatorial contest were neither signed nor stamped by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. It proceeded to declare 165,663 of the votes that were credited to the NNPP candidate as invalid. Following the deduction of the said invalid votes, Yusuf, who was initially declared winner of the governorship election with a total of 1,019,602 votes, had his tally reduced to 853,939 votes. With the development, his closest rival and candidate of the APC, Gawuna, emerged as a winner of the election with 890,705 votes. Interesting. Let's get back to our panelists here. It was the Kano State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal that first sacked the governor, and Gawuna was declared winner in that election. This has been reaffirmed by the appeal court. What are your thoughts?
First, I continue to say that Nigerians should put their eyes on our legal documents, our laws, before you take decision.
Eyes should be on the judiciary?
No.
Okay.
On our legal jurisprudence.
Okay.
The Act, the Constitution, and other extant laws. If we put our eyes there, it will guide us. This kind of error will not come up. But when you are now saying there is no law in Nigeria, it does not matter that when you now win, you have influence to subdue it, and you put your eye on the judiciary and not the law, that the judiciary will help you to amend, to twist, to set the law aside and give judgment in your favor, you fail. It is sacrosanct that the Constitution provides for elections and what should be done. It is also known fact that we have electoral law as amended 2022. And the electoral law provides that you must be a member of a political party before you can contest an election. If you are not a member of a political party, you can't contest because there's no individual candidate election. So if this man was not a member of a new Nigerian People's Party, as at the time guideline came out, because the guidelines specify within which candidate should be fed. Now you were not there, or you were in other parties, you lost there, and you feel that that party now is a new one that has not gotten candidate that is strong enough, they adopt you. Adopting you does not make you a qualified candidate. So the law will normally play his part, that the guideline says you must be a member of that party 30 days before the primary. So if it's 2 hours less 30 days,
yes,
you are not a member.
Okay. Mr. Patrick Sekwene, you're the lawyer here. So what are your thoughts on this judgment? I mean, give it an overview of the grounds for the judgment.
Yes. Basically, the ground for the judgment was that the NPP did not comply with the provision of the Electoral Act. Mostly, the issue of the Constitution. By virtue of Section 177C, made it clear that you must comply with certain things for you to be validly nominated. The man in question, Abba, was not, like from what I gathered throughout the evidence, was not a member of that political party. And then, how can party sponsor somebody who is not their member? The inability to comply with that Section 177 is very, very disastrous. It could not help the situation. That's why they find themselves in a helpless situation. Now, despite the issue of nomination is internal affairs, internal matters, political matters, but there you must comply with the provision of the law. Because it's mandatory for your political party to have a register of members, a register of voters, and you must present it on demand, whether to the court or to anybody. Throughout the trial, they never presented, able to prove that the so-elected governor was a member of a political party. That's why I'm shocked. Because there are ways to cure this defectiveness within the internal political system, the party. I think they have legal advisor. What I'm trying to say is that, yes, you can come, for instance, because we don't know when he became member. It was not clear from the evidence. But let me say, I understand that it was not formally from that political party. But at least, allow those days allowed by law, within 30 days, before you can be sponsored. And again, there's an exception, because if you go by the party constitution, there are times you have to stay within political party before you can even be sponsored as a candidate in the election. But there's an exception there of waiver. The party can waive. That is the part of the right as an internal issue. Okay. You can waive. But from throughout the evidence, they were never really able to prove that there was a waiver for the governor. Based on this, it was sponsored. So it's a fundamental error on the part of the NPP not to have given the membership card to him, because if he got into an election petition, the first thing, throughout this evidence, even in statement on oaths, he never uploaded his membership card. This is the first thing you must do. When you serve a member of a political party, you must present your membership card first. You attach it. Show him membership. Which he never did that, both in evidence and in statement on oath. So, I don't know how he's going to do it. It's a serious problem. Based on that, he was disqualified. So what I'm trying to say is that having the highest votes, he was declared the winner by NEC. But it's unfortunate that he did not comply with the provision of the law, which we're talking about 177C, which is very, very fatal to their case. So, and it's incurable, because equity aid the vigilance. You don't just say and start them to help you. And on the stage here now, no document can come in. Even at the lower court, they never said they had this document, but it was objected to. I mean, the court objected to it or discredited it or whatever, which shows they don't have it. So with this situation on ground, it's very fatal to their case. And
okay.
I think they should allow the case to lay to rest because it's a bad case for them.
All right. Just before we talk about the last option, the last card available to them in this case, let's look at another grounds for the decision of the court. It talks about the fact that Abba Yusuf was declared winner of the governorship election poll with a total of 1,019,602 votes. And that tally was now reduced to 853,939 votes. And then Gawona, who emerged as the winner of the election, got 890,705 votes. So, which means there were lots and lots of invalid votes in this election. And if we extrapolate this as a test case, it's reflective of somehow how elections, are conducted in certain parts of the country. I don't know if you can make a comment on that.
What we are saying is true. It happened in Edo State to 2016. 2016. But unfortunately, the PDP then could not conclude their scanning before time ran out. Because most of these things they do it with impunity. That nobody will ask questions. And even if they ask, we have a way of covering it up. And it's possible to cover it up in Nigeria when you have bigger hands that are supporting you. But when those hands are not there, they expose you. How can you go to a polling unit and presiding officer, poll clerk, and others are there to give you ballot paper without stamping it, without signing it? It's not at the collating center. The first thing you go to, you accredit. After the accreditation, they tear the ballot paper and stamp and sign and give you to go and thumb print. After thumb printing, you drop it
in the ballot
box. So if you subtract this figure now,
yes,
the figure is very high.
Yes, 165,663 votes, invalid votes.
Invalid votes. So it means that some persons were somewhere thumb printing it, not at the polling unit. That's the thing. Some people were hired somewhere,
yes,
and they were busy thumb printing, and they mix it up. It happened in Ondo State in 1983 when there was contest between Ajasi and Moboliowo, where Colonel Ayo Ariyo, who was the NECO or FEDECO officer then, now turned the thing against Ajasi that brought fracas in that state. And by the time they removed this kind of invalid vote too, Ajasi was now declared the winner after INEC have declared the Mobilio as the winner. So they are still there everywhere. But who is supporting you to prove your case?
That's what matters.
That's what matters.
Okay, Barrister, give me your take on this number of invalid votes here. 163,000 is such a huge number, which in some cases, I'm sure there are some governors who probably came into office on account of winning an election with this margin. Yeah.
From experience, I was once an election observer. I observed both locally and internationally. When I was the chairman of Justice JDPC, Development and Peace Commission, and the chairman of the Democracy Monitoring Committee of the Diocese of Edo State, I was involved in election monitoring. Also for MBA, I was also involved in Swift counts. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm highly experienced. I know what happened in the field. Now, like what happened that Kano, you see, I'm not surprised because of their background academically. What I mean, those women, They're interested, so they don't have to know much enlightenment. They just vote, they don't know how to vote. Because once you go, they don't know all they have is, I have voted. I can provide.
But they usually turn out large number of votes.
Yeah,
2 million.
And you don't expect that thing to happen more in the West.
Yes.
Or in Edo. This is Kano. Those women, they don't. It's common in that such area.
Okay.
They vote the way any way they see it. I have voted, unknowingly that your vote will not be counted because they will not accept it. Because some people just vote at the center in between. All they ought to operate. No, it will not be counted. It's their exposure, it's their mentality, majority. You can have some fraudulent votes. I'm not talking about. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But major is their background. Such mistake, don't interpreting. Because when it gets there, it turns the way. In between, it's invalid. It will not be counted. Yeah. There are times we try to monitor because as an election observer, you want to observe. You don't get it. Yes, you have to let them know that it's just well, this thing is close. They should to judge. Look at this way. Don't you just cancel. Let's give it to that because see it's very close. The man, this is the way you have it, the bigger one. So okay, let it be so. So its majority is the knowledge, is the enlightenment in that environment.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
If you just join us on to Politics Today on independent television and radio, our focus on the program is on the Kano State Appeal Court judgment on the governorship election in that state, which upheld the judgment of the Kano State Governorship Election Tribunal of Gawuna as the duly elected governor of that state. Now, we've seen the discrepancies in the votes cast. Total vote of 1,019,602 reduced to 853,939 votes, with a difference of over 165,000. That's huge. Yes, 165,663. That's huge. And that has brought this disarray and embarrassment to the NNPP. I'm just wondering how Dr. Rabi Musa Kwankwaso will be feeling now on account of this outcome. But is there an option? Because as a civil society activist, as a human rights lawyer, you've given some insights into why the appeal court went in the direction in which it did based on the governorship tribunal decision. Is there any way the Supreme Court can obtain this judgment? Let me begin with you, Bishop Osadoloche.
Yes, whatsoever stand a building is foundation. When the foundation is faulty, there is no amendment that can make the house to stand. There is already a faulty foundation. Is there any way by which they can bring 165,000 ballot papers with stamp and signature to the Supreme Court to say the lower court erred by removing it? There is no way. 2, is he going to present a membership card now and register to Supreme Court, which he never presented at the tribunal and at the appeal court? The answer is no room. So if there is no room for these two things, if I were in his shoe, that small change will remain in my pocket. I will keep it to continue with life. So the case died on arrival if he filed at the Supreme Court.
Do you agree with this? Do you subscribe to this line of reasoning on this matter?
100%.
Is it dead on arrival?
Dead on arrival. I'll call dead on arrival. 100%. I have no reservation. Because it's clear, like what I said earlier, there are some provision of the law that they might just want to bend here and here. But the issue of not being a membership, because it is mandatory for political parties to keep register of their members and voter register whenever the need arises. Just like the case of court, because the courts have a role to play in the issue of democracy. When you talk of the election, people, the law made it clear for two bodies. You cannot take it away from them, whether I like it or not. Issue of election, the INEC and the courts. The constitutional empowered for issue of election. Once INEC is through with the election, it now goes to the court who have the final bit on the matter. Whatever they say is final. That is an end to election issue. So for them not to, so like I told you that it's mandatory for them to keep the register of the vote of members to prove in case of incapacity, like the way we find ourselves now. That would have shown them, they would have said, oh, look at that, the tender it. INEC has this record, it's our member. Again, you don't expect INEC to only prove for you, your party to only prove for you. Because you yourself, I'm a member.
Okay.
It's my membership card.
Okay.
You must have them, it's a constitutional requirement. For you not to provide that, there's no way the court can help you.
Okay.
And there was no evidence where they say they pleaded it.
Yes.
That's what going to Supreme Court now to do what? You're going there to commit suicide. That is just advice that you just go home and forget about it.
Okay. Conversations of this nature, there is always a dimension, a perspective that is a perspective that is getting louder by the day, which is that in our democracy, within the context of Nigeria, is moving from the people deciding who governs them to the courts deciding who governs them. Is this something?
It's not correct. It's not correct. You know why it's not correct? If the final state is that the people will decide, then there couldn't have been provision for the court. If they have made provision that if you are not satisfied with the process, approach the court, then that have given credence to the court as final arbiter. So they are not interfering in any way by what the people have decided. They are only settling arguments between two people or three people or more. Now this one says it's my child, the other one says it's my child, like biblical judgment. So if that is the room provided by the court is doing his bidding.
Okay.
Except we are going to remove that clause. And if we remove that clause, it becomes more dangerous. Then by the time we finish election, INEC alone can even declare somebody that never participated
the winner.
as the winner.
All right. Let's get to know what your sentiments are on this matter of the courts taking the place of the people who ordinarily have the power to decide who governs them.
Well, the court is not taking place of the people, and the court can never take place of the people. It's a constitutional requirement by law. That's issue of election. It's the statutory duty of INEC to conduct election. And also made it clear again, the Constitution made it clear that whatever arose from that election, whoever feel not comfortable, satisfied with the court, you are satisfied, that you approach the court, the final arbiter, to look at your issues, your grievances. Whatever you say, that puts an end to the election and this thing. So is the constitutional what the court is playing. So court does not look at what people talk, what people say. It is documented before them. Like just the case of Kano State now, I said, issue of being a member was not able to prove it. No membership card. You never show that you are a member. You cannot put something upon nothing. That is what the court look at and to give judgment as a judicial arm of government. What I mean as the courts, because it's what mandated from that election that they look into. So you must prove this with documentary evidence. Somebody, for instance, I just met somebody somewhere. There was something I just asked. Somebody, and I said, what is this Imo State election they just did now? The governor has almost 520,000 votes. I said, what? You know? He said, no. I said, no. I'll ask him. My question was, are you INEC? I'm talking about what INEC released. They're expected to give us results. If you're INEC, I will believe you. But for now, you're not an INEC. Are you empowered to call issue of election? You have INEC, not side talk. So what I'm trying to say is that it is the courts that have the final say. And the judiciary, as I know too well, is that they are impartial. It is documented before them. In this judgment they just given, they never proved, they never tell any constitution that these things were they met up the requirement. We show that they have a bad case.
Okay.
So the judiciary act on is a track law. I would say severally that the court act on document before him, evidence before him.
Well, in that election, we saw the popularity of former Governor Abdullahi Ganduje waned on account of some of his indiscretion and all of that, leading to that election. What do you make of what has happened now against the background of the build-up to the election itself, and now we're in the post-election?
Ganduje was the Kano, immediate past Kano state governor. And normally, he must have strong followers. So we will not be surprised that that influence played out. But like I said, those ballot papers that were not stamped and signed should have been done in a private place to be able to build up the figure to defeat Kwankwaso. I mean, Ganduje and his candidate, Yusuf.
Yes.
So now the truth have come out.
Okay.
That justifies that Ganduje was on ground.
Okay. Let's look at another development still on the role of the judiciary in strengthening democracy. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has also declared as inconclusive the governorship election that was held in Zamfara State on March 18. In a unanimous decision, the three-member panel led by Justice Oyebisi Folayemi and supported by Justice Cordelia Ifoma Jambo Ofo and Justice Sibyl Nwaka Gbagi nullified the return of Governor Dauda Lawal of the People's Democratic Party as a winner of the governorship poll. Justice Nwaka, who read the lead judgment, ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conduct a fresh election in 3 local government areas in the state where elections had not been held previously or where results from various polling units were not counted. The affected local government areas are Maradun, Bernie Mogaji, and Bukuyu. The court held that it was wrong for INEC to rely on information it obtained from its INEC result viewing IREF portal to collate the final result of the governorship election. The judgment followed an appeal that was brought before the court by the immediate past governor of the state, Bello Matawale, who was the candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC in the election. Matawale was later appointed by the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the Minister of State for Defense. According to INEC, Matawale was roundly beaten and defeated with over 65,000 votes. Specifically, INEC credited Lawal with 377,726 votes, while Matawale was said to have scored 311,976 votes. The tribunal on September 18 upheld Lawal's election, but Matawale proceeded to the appeal court. Palpable tension has enveloped the premises of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, while the judges sat for hours to announce their decisions. Around the court, there was heavy presence of security personnel to ward off possible breakdown of law and order after the judgment. A group of sympathizers and political associates of the two groups had earlier stormed the court as early as 8 a.m., but were restricted to a far distance by heavily armed mobile policemen. This is another perspective to the election, as it were. But again, we are gravitating towards that same opinion that the courts are gradually taking the place of the electorate in deciding who becomes their governor.
It is a constitutional matter.
Yes.
If the Constitution have not provided that there should be courts, and whoever is aggrieved, not satisfied, should approach the court, nobody will go to the court for that purpose. Because the court will tell them we have no jurisdiction to hear your case.
Yes.
But the Constitution have provided for it that when there is election, whether councillor, chairmanship, House of Assembly, House of Rep, Senate, governorship, presidency, you are not satisfied with the process, you have credible evidence, you should go to the court to ventilate it.
Okay. All right.
Now that that's the position, that is what they have done. And they are saying that Tere local government area, there was no election. And if there was no election, what they look at first, what is the result that each of them has scored? What is the strength of the voters? What's the registration strength in these 3 local
government areas.
If this strength is election is conducted there, assumingly one person got all the vote, will he overturn the other person's own
result,
that is getting the highest?
Yes, yes.
If the difference, assuming 25%, was added to the one who have the highest, can he maintain his lead? If they see it on that perspective, say, okay, go and conduct a fresh election in those areas.
Okay.
So that whatever any of them get will be added up to know who now have the simple majority.
Fantastic. Barrister Sekwene, yeah, it's a very interesting case that is coming up in Zamfara State, where the election has now been declared inconclusive. So we're looking forward to how that election will pan out. But we know that that state is one of the hotbeds for banditry. And the possibility of having an election in some of those areas is a major challenge. So I don't know what's going to happen, really, as far as this case is concerned, based on the judgment of the appeal court one. And then secondly, the insecurity in Zamfara State is at rooftop. In fact, one of the things that made Matawali become very unpopular, so unpopular in that state, was his inability to handle the insecurity problem. And after the election, I mean, there were allegations of him stockpiling vehicles running into millions in his house in Abuja, which were recovered by the incumbent governor, as it were. Yeah.
You will be surprised that after this election, that's during the day of the election, after the election, there will be peace. It's not to be history. I believe 100%.
For those local governments.
Yes, let me take you back.
They go on research.
Let me take you back.
You know, the bandits go on research.
Let me take you back to what it's occurred here. You see, that's why the politicians can be terrible. If you want peace, if you want comfort, if you want discomfort, it is the politicians. You remember Jonathan time,
yes,
when NLC was about to postpone election in Zamfara due to insecurity. They almost not organized the election. They almost severally, election was late. They did that. At the end of the election, Zamfara got the highest votes.
And then you won.
It was fantastic. You won it. Zamfara, more than any other.
Yes, that's Zamfara that has the challenge of insecurity, got the highest number of votes.
So it happened, yes, what are you talking about? These politicians will make sure there is peace because it's their own election. Yes, but this inconclusive of everything, such an election, I'm always scared. I'm always scared. It's always that because those 3 local governments, the politicians will make sure everything possible to secure it for election. Where they give 5,000, that is the right to give 50,000. A lot of things will happen there. A lot of things will happen there for this local government. Adeleke was a case study. Adeleke.
First time.
Yes, I ever. They were giving, after giving you money, still give rapper. Rappers, the voters. A lot of things were.
And that's swayed the votes.
Swayed the vote. I'm telling you. Okay. They must put in their national caucus.
If you just join us, it's still politics today on independent television and radio. Well, let's leave politics now and talk a bit more of the challenge or challenges with the labor movement. You recall that recently the Nigerian Labour Congress, alongside the Trade Union Congress and all the affiliate unions, threatened to go on a nationwide strike, which was the comments earlier this week. But as it turned out, they listened to the voice of reasoning after engagement with stakeholders, and that strike was botched. But the issue that came forth on the lips of many people was that Labour wants to go on strike because the national president of Labour was battered in Imo State ahead of the election, which of course Hope Uzodinma eventually won. But other things came forth. Number one was that for the NLC president, it was said not to have even come out of the secretariat. It was beaten like a common criminal, battered left, right, back, center, dragged on the ground. I mean, we could see from the pictures on social media, bandages on his head, bandages around his neck, and then bruises all over his face. For me, that's outrightly barbaric. Outrightly barbaric. and that should not be encouraged by any stroke of imagination and is highly condemnable. But let me get the perspectives of my panelists here, Bishop Osadolo Oche and Barrister Patrick Isiekwene. If that strike wasn't averted, we know what that would have meant for the economy, because we're already beginning to feel the impact of the warning strike, as it were. Bishop Osadolo Oche.
Thank you for this subject matter. I sympathize with Ajero. I apologize on behalf of Nigeria for the assault method on him. But then, what made them to assault him? You can never cry more than they believed. Ajero is not a chapter chairman. Ajero is the national president of Nigerian Labour Congress. The chapter says, Ozodema, the governor of Imo State, is not owing us. And you that is in Abuja is telling them they are owing you. They switch off electricity and everything from Imo State. That is felony. That is barbaric economic sabotage. In that state, first and foremost. Then you went further to drag the entire country into a matter of a chapter. And you declared nationwide strike. No light, no water, no movement, no money. There are a lot of Nigerians who live on medicine, not on food. The money they spend on medicine every day, they cannot spend it on food for 1 week. And those kind of persons, you allow them to die. And you think God will not ask you? Because they can't access money to buy their medication? Because of selfish and greedy act of yours? For God's sake, assault is not part of trade union act. That when a labor leader is assaulted, then it becomes a labor issue to go on strike or to go to court. It's a criminal matter. If he's assaulted, he should arrest the person or institute a criminal charge against the persons or person that assaulted them, asking court to compel the Inspector General of Police to produce the person or persons to court.
But that wasn't a decision of Ajero as an individual.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, it wasn't a decision of Ajero as an individual.
Wait, sir, you were not there, sir.
And you were not there too?
You were not there, sir.
No, you were not there too.
Wait,
the
sir.
things you are saying are based on things you heard or read from newspaper, not like you were there physically.
Yes, sir. If it was not Ajero's intention, he did not sponsor it. He still have a right to make a publication. Please, this is not part of our mandate. Don't toe this line. I'm not in support. That's what an honest person will do.
After all the beatings that he
received.
Yes.
We tell them, according to law, that what I intend to do, I know the persons that assaulted me by their name and their office.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask my lawyer to go to court and to the court to compare under order of mandamus. The court should compare Inspector General of Police to produce A, B, C, D in court for trial.
Okay.
That is the position of the law.
Okay.
When you go far above that,
yes,
you are run far of the law.
Let's get your reflections on this. I mean, even though the strike has since been suspended by the NLC.
No, let me conclude this thing.
Yes.
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Now, have NLC fought for a Nigerian worker? 98% of people who retired 10 years, 20 years, no pension, no gratuity. Have NLC one day gone on strike that our workers are dying because they don't have pension, they don't have gratuity? A senior officer, I won't mention the person's name, a retired assistant commissioner of police, sent a text to me. I retired since April, but no payment. Friend, I beg, assist me. When I saw the text, he didn't put the name. So I didn't mind until he called me. Are you hearing me? In our time, when you retire, 3 months to your going, your money is ready. So what is wrong with the current workers that are not seeing that there's danger ahead of them because they are enjoying the booty and the stealing in the current dispensation?
All right, let's get your perspectives, Barrister Sekwene.
Yes, I'm telling you, I'm not surprised about the action of the NLC. I will not be fair to myself. Why they should go on with the issue of that strike? 2-day strike. You see, to start with, there is a restraining order from industrial courts, restraining the Nigerian Labour Congress until you see not to go on this strike. And when court makes an order, as far as I'm concerned, it bounds in all persons and principality, including those witches and wizards. You are bound by the order of the court. It succeeded. They still went ahead with the strike. In disobedience of court order, it is contentious. Contempt. So I don't know why Ajaro wanted to risk to go to prison. Because the ESCO is going to be very responsible. It's a special order from court not to go, carry on. They still went and disobeyed the court. If there is anybody who will disobey the order of the courts, which we don't encourage them to disobey the order of the court, it's not the NUC and the TUC, NLC and the TUC at all. Because government, after government start dealing with workers, I don't know anybody. They will tell you, did you obey the order of the court? When court asks you not to go on strike, this is to obey court, who will disobey? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's going to be a reference point, which I know that Ajara and cohorts will go jail for it. Because you see, I'm not only supportive of NLC when they will say one want to go to strike, because the politics involved. That was why I made it last time that throughout 8 years of Buhari government, they will not strike. No way, you dare not. You just talk a short strike. If you're to Buhari time, once you are arrested, you remain there. They know Buhari. You remain there. They dare not. 8 years, not strike for a single day. But it's not just came to power. They not allow it. So, with what happened in Imo State, with the margin of the government, the result they got, show that even the states they are supportive of what happened to Ajero. This is a state where it even came from. We're not happy.
And the workers have not been paid for 20 months.
20 months. Yes. Workers debunked it.
Yes, they debunked it maybe after collecting money.
Whatever happened.
See, sir,
the other day they went to congratulate the new government.
You are aware that several issue of financial autonomy, like National Assembly, as for Assembly, even local government. As for Assembly, you voted against their own autonomy. There are people behind scene. So if they denounce or not denounce, I cannot rule that one out. You understand what I mean? But what I'm trying to say is that Ajaro ought not to play politics with his office. There are some people who play politics with their offices, which is not fair for the nation. Yes, which is not fair for the nation. If they must come to court, equity must come with clean hands. The hands are dirty because the chapter, they're not complaining. They're not complaining. And you still went ahead, even when they assaulted you. Yes, we are not happy that you are assaulted. We're not happy. But then when you look at circumstance surrounding it, people do assault people. But you will not take it to the extreme of what you did to shut down. If you are to be shut down, Imo State ought to be shut down, not the entire nation. If Ajaro wants to be honest to himself, he will not shut down the nation just because you are the NLC president. You should limit it to Imo State, because this is sovereign. We are operating a federation. What happens in Imo State? Why is turning to other states?
Okay,
You don't have ended there.
Yeah.
Not that the entire state. I think it's abuse of his office and his power drunk.
All right, let's take a look at the calls coming in already. Let's get the views and opinions. Like we said at the beginning, please endeavor to be as brief as possible so that others can take their turns, and do not also cast aspersion on anyone. Dial the number on the screen right now, right away, and let's get your take on the issues we've looked at so far. But if you're listening to us on radio, you can call the studio number 080-7777-0300. That's our studio number, 080-7777-0300. Give us your take on it. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning,
Solomon
caller.
Ataga. I'm calling from Benin.
Go ahead.
Track NUC. Thinking that should be the avenue to tell federal government to return petrol price to 200. See, that was not the... nobody was about zero. It looks somehow that the condition we are now, no expert union, NUC, Mr. President, and said there is suffering in the nation. It's uncalled for anyway. That they are no more important to the federal government now. They are not even important to Nigeria. So the world is watching. And for the issue of the election, one of Kano State, I know the professionals, the lawyers and all that, you people are there to defend what you know better to do. I feel that just as the first analyst said, what Ogasimi did is just trampling. We are not seeing the fair, because is it the party member that come out and say it's not our party? I believe Kwakwaso is the owner of that party. From Kwakwaso rejected say he was not our party member, or it was just individual observation. So know that in anything we do to others, we will also have a opportunity to also do it to us. That's just my take. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ataga, for your contribution. 080-7777-0300. Good morning, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Good morning.
I'm Musa Haruna from
Yes. Who are we talking with? Who is talking to us here? What's it?
Musa Haruna.
Okay, Musa Haruna. Please go ahead, Musa Haruna. Yes.
What I want to contribute in this topic is that the way the judiciary, they are not trustful in the issue of LF toward it now. The judiciary is supposed to be the hope of the common man.
Okay, it looks like we've lost that call. We hope you'll be able to establish the connection and continue with your contribution. Hello, caller. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Good morning, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Go ahead with your contribution. Good morning. Hello, caller. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for the program. It's so educative and very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you.
The issue of chapter nullify.
Yes, you need to speak up. You need to speak up a little bit. You need to project more so we can hear you. Good morning.
Thought that it should be a pre-election matter. Pre-election matter.
Okay.
The election has been conducted and the party did not complain. Why would outsider be complaining about who had the right in that party? Own take. Ajero, whose action is self-serving. Personal, we have been suffering over of our roots, suffering over fuel scarcity. Ajero declare one day strike. Want to go on strike, declare full-blown strike. I think it is not the best thing. We should not be selfish. Everybody, especially when we are hoping. My name is Comrade. Give me the opportunity to have my view.
All right, thank you. That's our last call today on the program. We hope you had a great time with us on Politics Today on independent television and radio. Let me appreciate our panelist. Barrister Patrick Isekwene is a human rights lawyer, a notary public, and of course a constitutional lawyer. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We also have with us here Executive Director, Human Rights Advocate, Bishop Osadola Oche. Thanks again for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. God bless you.
And to all our viewers across the world and our listeners on radio across the world, thank you very much for your faithfulness and your commitment to Politics Today on independent television and radio. Remember, Nigeria is ours, and it's our responsibility to put the right things in place, do the right thing to ensure we move this country forward. Those who are in position today, remember, the position you're in is not for everlasting, it's not forever, it's only for a time. Make sure you take advantage of the opportunity you have now to write your name in gold, to make history by impacting lives, changing the narratives, and ensuring that people will continue to remember you for good. That's why you have the position. That's my take out on the show today. Have a great weekend. On behalf of my colleagues here who've been making the show a huge success, I'm Sonny Duke Okosun, wishing you a great weekend. Bye for now.